Hello, my friend, and welcome to Perfect Practice. Today, I have a special friend, somebody who started off as a client in our clinic, then became not only a rock star patient who transformed her health, but then took it upon herself to become a health coach, transformed her life even more, and is now in service to many people around the world who are trying to overcome some of the challenges that she faced by being thrust into a situation that many of us may not necessarily imagine ourselves being in. And she came out on the other side as a massive, massive success story, but also somebody who, more importantly, has served as a great inspiration. She's somebody who's not only become a best-selling author, a transformational health coach, somebody who makes you smile. And you'll see in just a moment as we start this conversation, you'll instantly have a smile on your face. Somebody who's become a great inspiration to me and many of my colleagues in showing us and demonstrating to us what's possible with the power of love, dedication, and commitment. So today I get to interview a dear friend, Marie Scott. Welcome, Marie. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Sachin. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I'm super excited to have this conversation because we're going to go through the not only the personal transformation, but also the professional transformation that you've gone through, and also the transformations that you're helping others create using your life experiences, your journey as the bedrock for that. So let's start there. Tell us about what your life was like before you discovered functional medicine. I'd love to start there.
So I discovered an osteopath who was working with Dr. Jimerson the year I tore my rotator cuff. And so he was the first person that ever sat down and asked me about a family history. And it was just eye-opening. I had been recently diagnosed with autoimmune hepatitis, and I had to ask Dr. Google what that was. And autoimmune disease is running rampant throughout my family. And I lived on Imodium. My guts were a mess, and I had carried around 30 pounds with me for 20 years. I thought, well, it's just because I quit smoking 3 times, so I was okay with that trade-off. And then when I started getting into the root cause, it's like, why am I on blood pressure medication? Can I do something to get off it? Because when they give you a pill, they never tell you how you're going to get off it. There's no exit strategy. And you know that well. And high blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medication, my number was 299, which is just a number. I learned many years later. I was on hormone therapy because that's what they do to women, antidepressants because that's what they give to widows. And so I was a total health mess. I was a total mess. And all these diseases running through my family, I didn't want to be part of. Celiac disease. My other sister had Graves' disease. My sister, Mark, had breast cancer. Brothers, hypothyroidism running throughout the family. And it gave me a curiosity to learn more about why I was feeling like this and why, the fog wasn't lifting and the energy wasn't there. And so that's the state of Marie before discovering functional medicine and the power of just changing what I ate for 6 short weeks.
Wow. And you said something in there that I want to, kind of amplify a little bit in your message is that you said that many of your siblings had autoimmunity. Were you able to trace back perhaps where this came from? I don't know if there was something that happened in childhood to you or something that you were all exposed to, or have you been able to dissect that, or is that still a mystery?
Still a mystery. And I personally believe that a lot of this is linked to food. And growing up, my mom cooking big vats of tomato sauce with the acid in aluminum pots and pans and cooking pasta 2 to 3 times a week. And I had been lactose intolerant since I was a teen. And they traced that back to Mediterranean heritage. So there's a link there. But I truly believe it was the diet of pasta and bread every single night that eventually caught up with all of us. And another thing, my brother passed away of ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease. And I never even knew that was considered an autoimmune disease. So one of the first things that when I joined the Essentials program is, the homework was to read The Biology of Belief. And I am living proof that it is not your biology or your genes or your DNA, it's the environment. Or as
Mm.
Bruce Lipton would say, it's the environment, stupid. So that is one of the most powerful books I ever read.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites as well. There's something else that you mentioned, which was widowhood. So I'd love to have you speak about that a little bit and how much that's played a role in your journey. And of course, you've got a
Yes,
book all about it, and
yes.
we'll get into that in just a moment. But tell us a little bit more about that.
So my beloved firefighter husband was diagnosed around Christmas time in 2017. And the interesting part about that is the esophageal cancer was also considered fireman's cancer. And because of his passing, he's recognized on 3 national firefighter walls, which is an incredibly proud moment for me, and it would be for him as well. So his name is etched on the wall in Toronto and on the wall in Ottawa, as well as the international in Colorado Springs. So he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. And I'll never forget this. It started with the let's do an endoscopy because he's having trouble swallowing. He used to say to me, it feels like it's stuck, the food's stuck. So they did an endoscopy and then they did a colonoscopy at the same time. And I've been with Dave through 4 brain surgeries, 2 hip replacements, and 2 knees. And that day coming out of the endoscopy, he was extra long in coming to. And when he did, first thing he said to me was, I don't feel any relief swallowing. And
Mm.
so then the procession of doctors starts. It's the surgeon who says, okay, if it's a tumor, we can cut it out. Then it's the oncologist, and learned it was just stage 4 spread throughout his body. And then the oncologist says, you must do chemo. In the second opinion, you must do chemo. And Dave was like, for what? So you can shrink the tumor so you can eat. But Dave was like, yeah, but I'm not going to want to eat, because it was a horrific cocktail of drugs.
Mm.
And he decided for quality of life over quantity, because it was only 6 more months maybe that they gave him to take this horrific protocol. And that was the last time we saw the oncologist, the day Dave decided not to do chemo. So everybody said chemo, 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 but Dave said no. And I want quality of life. And Sachin, he would wake up every morning and say 2 things. I feel terrific and good morning, beautiful. And then towards the last couple of weeks, he couldn't swallow anything. And the outpouring of love in those last 6 months by his side was incredible, a depth that I'd never experienced before. And on April 15th, 2018, the most beautiful yet most powerful moment in my life was when he took his last breath in my arms, in bed at home. And I'll never forget that moment for the rest of my life. And I remember whispering into his ear, it's okay, Dave, I'll be all right. Because he was
Mm.
more worried about me embracing life again more than his imminent mortality. And it was an incredible, powerful moment in my life. And so I was just so happy to give him his wishes of dying at home and not taking chemo, and having the best quality of life he could right to the end.
Wow, that's powerful. How was it for you was it difficult for you to support him in that decision, or how did you come
No, it
to?
wasn't actually, because, the best thing about it is it was totally his decision. He never asked my opinion. And
Hmm.
I feel so good about that it was totally his decision. So that was important for me, and important for me to know that I didn't have a hand in prolonging his life with agony. We knew people that said I didn't, he didn't die the day they put him in the ground. He died the day he started chemo.
Hmm.
So I learned so much more about cancer and, the huge bazillion-dollar moneymaker cancer and chemotherapy really is.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that changes in our lifetime, but I know that you've acquired tools to help people not only deal with going through something tragic like this, yet beautiful at the same time. there's a lot of emotion involved. There's a lot of mixed feelings, and there's a lot that comes up and bubbles to the surface. But
Yeah.
what you've done is quite beautiful. You've learned to, adopt and adapt and find love again, and even write all about it in your book. So I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about that process of writing a
Yes.
book.
Yes. So I remember the day shortly after Dave died, I was lying on the floor with open, empty arms, wondering who I was going to take care of next. And the answer came back quickly, you silly. And I started journaling and I wrote my heart out because 30 years together with someone, we had a ton of travel adventures and stories, and being in the fire department in Mississauga, there are a ton of funny stories from the firehouse because they were a family. That was his second family. And so I started journaling, and I would be on a plane traveling for work. I was in technology, and I would write on airplane napkins. And one time, it was the only piece of paper I had, so all four quadrants of this Delta napkin were written on and scribbled in thoughts and memories. And it was very therapeutic to me. And after a while, as I also began meditating, because I'd learned that meditation was a tremendous grief buster. And I said, if I can do this, commit to this for 30 days, then it'll become a habit. And it did. And it was magical. And through the initial stages of meditation, it brought up a lot of emotion, a lot of tears, a lot of feelings. And I just kept writing my heart out. And after one meditation, one day, I sat back and the 12 chapters came to me. I said, there's a book here. There's a book here. And it's been so therapeutic for me. I bet this can help others. So the 12 chapters came out, and I started, finding these spots on the beach to go sit and write and not come out of the room. And it was really almost a 4-year process for this to become a published book, and very, very happy that it's out now and helping. The message is helping so many people. Everybody who reads it says, you are such an inspiration. And that's my purpose and passion in life part two, to inspire widows and widowers that, they too can live well through clean eating, laugh more by surrounding yourself with positivity and healthy relationships, and perhaps even find love again.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And one thing that comes up for me is paint a picture for us as to what happens to the typical person going through something like this, because they probably don't have the same coping mechanisms and tools and strategies that you did. So what does the average widower go through?
The widows and widowers that I've talked to, women and men are different. The widows that I've talked to, I met a woman standing in line while Jeff was parking down at Longboat Key, and she started talking to me about, being a widow, and her husband had been gone for 2 years, and I said, oh my word, I'm a widow as well, and then all of a sudden, as if on cue, Jeff comes up and puts his arm around me, and she said, well, what have you done? And she goes, I feel so stuck. It's been 2 years. And that's what I hear so often. I feel stuck. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to embrace life again. And after becoming a health coach, it helped me articulate the 7 steps to healing. And through those 7 steps, that's how I overcame this tremendous loss. I mean, for a year and a half, I was a basket case, just collapsing in a puddle of tears in the closet. That was my favorite spot to grieve, and never cried so much in my life. And just when the light started coming on and the light in the tunnel, I could see it, and then I started laughing again and started eating, really good. And the widow fog lifted, and felt that I was finally unstuck. And it was about a year and a half later when I decided, I've got so much love in me. I just want to find new friends and have new adventures. And when I healed my mind, body, and spirit, that's when my heart opened, and in walked Jeff Gordon. So it's an amazing love story, but a lot of widows don't get to that step because they can't get unstuck. And I just have this vision that they're standing in concrete boots, not knowing. You don't ever move forward. I still have my moments, especially this time of year, but you certainly absolutely can march forward one step at a time. find new purpose, and develop healthy relationships, and unsubscribe to negative friends and family. And you all know you have one. So it was just so important to my healing, and the energy came back, and the widow fog lifted, and I am well on my way to enjoying life part two.
I love that. One of the challenges people face, even when they're married and have a loving partner, is cooking, right? And self-care, just as it is challenging for people. But when they lose someone, then it's them on their own, and their nutrition, their diet, their cooking, all those things can kind of take a back seat. So I know cooking can be very therapeutic. I'm sure it's something not only emotionally therapeutic for you, but also therapeutic for your body.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
So I am so passionate about food. I've always been passionate about food, and when I changed my food preferences, which has now become a way of life, I lost those 30 pounds I've been carrying around forever, and energy came back. Once you feel like that, you'll never go back. I won't go back. And what's interesting is people saw my health transformation, said, what did you do? What do you eat? And I said, just come over to my house. I'll cook for you. And a lot of widows say, no, it's just me. I won't cook. I'll just have, popcorn or cheese and crackers and all the things that, increase the inflammation and help you retain widow fog. So I started the third book, which is called Cooking with a Side of Kleenex. And I learned that if I don't cook, I'm not going to eat well. Yes, you can always find a piece of fish in a restaurant, but the temptations are too great. And it's probably not cooked in the best way that you would take at home. So I cook at home. I love cooking, even for myself. It was therapeutic. But I remember the first time I went shopping after Dave died, I was just in tears in the supermarket, buying one piece of salmon and one piece of chicken and one piece of steak. And it was very hard for me, but I did it. And I just made sure that I cooked every night. And then I started inviting friends over to cook for them. And they all wanted to see my refrigerator and wanted to see my pantry. And so it was really great. And this is where the cookbook is really coming into play. The recipes are totally natural and healthy. And what's interesting is people just started picking up on what I was eating and said, hey, I can do that. I can start eating organic. I can, teach people how to shop, stick around the perimeters. And it's like, I never knew that. And the biggest change was when I stopped eating things out of a box. I've been gluten-free since 2015, but still eating gluten-free pasta, gluten-free bread, gluten-free cookies, and realized that, that content wasn't that good for you. So cooking is a passion. Jeff and I have a YouTube channel. We're going to start a Jeff and Marie cooking show because he loves to cook as well. So it's been a passion of mine, and I can't wait to get the word out. Food is medicine. It really is. If I eat something that I know I shouldn't have, I'm going to pay for it immediately. And my body just says, you shouldn't have done that. And it brings you back to, the reason why you started this journey in the first place. And everybody around me now, even Jeff has embraced. He goes, what is that? What are you putting on your salad? So it's turmeric. How come you're not putting it on mine? And because I put turmeric on everything. So now he's just picked up this whole way of eating, and even stopped eating his 4 Oreo cookies after every meal. So it isn't anything that I said, you should do this. He just picked it up. So it's wonderful to be an influence.
Well, it's never too late to pick up some good habits, right?
No.
Have you ever tried pickled turmeric?
No.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can get my mother-in-law to make some, and we'll ship some down to you.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's super delicious and super anti-inflammatory, and it's great to add on dishes, or you just even have it as a side.
Wow, sounds good. I love pickled anything.
Yeah, you know what? One of my patients made some pickled string beans for us.
Oh, wow.
And she dropped off a whole basket full of goods the other day, and my son opened them up, and he finished like half of the bottle, And I'm like, these must be good. Let me try some. And they were the most delicious string beans I've ever had. I've never had pickled string beans before. So
Yeah.
I agree. Pickled stuff is amazing. And it's great. It's
Yes.
loaded with healthy bacteria, as we all
Yeah.
know, and tasty as well to top it all
Yeah.
off. So one of the things you talk about in your book is about laughing more.
Yes.
And while it seems obvious that that's good for us, it releases endorphins and makes us feel good, how do you start to laugh again when you're going through a challenging time?
That's one of the 7 steps to healing that I think is the most important. And I remember maybe about 7 or 8 months after Dave died, I heard myself laugh, and I had to do a double take. It's like, what is that noise? And you realize that laughter is so powerful. I mean, if you can hang around your funny friends, and everybody's got, a great funny friend. Can't find your funny friends and hang around them, or watch a funny movie. One of my favorites is Major League, which I've seen like 15 times, and it still makes me chuckle. And so bringing laughter back in your life is so important. Joyce Brothers wrote in her book Widowed, a widow crying is about as popular as a case of the flu. And
Mm.
it's true. I mean, as well, when you can't get rid of those tears, you can put a smile on your face, and it makes you feel better inside. And it makes the people around you feel better as well. And it's contagious. So, just smiling and being with positive people really, really helps your physical mood as well. And like you said, releases the endorphins, the feel good chemicals.
Yeah, and I would also add to that laughing is a form of breath work. So it's a
Yes.
great diaphragmatic exercise, and
Yeah.
releases those hormones that make us feel good again. And what's beautiful about it is it's contagious, and we
Yes.
have to use that word carefully these days. But it's contagious in a positive way, right? It gets
Yes.
other people laughing, and it shows others that you're on your healing journey,
Yeah.
and lightens the
And
mood
more
up
open.
in any room. Yeah, exactly. One of the other things that we talk about, or you talk about rather in the book, is loving again. And tell us a little bit more about that. How do you open your heart back up and embrace the new opportunities of love that enter into your life?
Yeah, it's amazing. So I never dreamed I'd get married again, let alone find a second great love of my life. And my friend Lee says to me, he goes, how do you rate? He goes, not only did you have one great love, because he knew Dave, but now you've got two. He goes, most of us don't even get one.
Hmm.
So it was an incredible story. It was once I healed my body, my confidence came back, and once I healed my spirit and mind, my smile came back, and that gave me more confidence. And I was attracting people around me, the kind of people that I wanted around me, positive, happy people. And so one day I was having dinner at this fabulous farm to table restaurant in downtown Sarasota, where I had packed up and moved to. And I was having dinner alone because my friend didn't show up. And I was looking around, had a fabulous meal. And I saw this guy dancing with like a ton of different women. So I knew he wasn't with someone. And he has a big grin on his face. And he looked over, and I smiled and he smiled. And we started danced the rest of the night together. And we have probably been attached at the hip since that day, in
Hmm.
January 9th and 2019. And on January 9th, 2020, he proposed to me on a Zoom call because nobody could travel. I had no clue. So we're on a Zoom call in our timeshare in Florida. And it was the funniest things. That's going to be part of the last book, From High Heels to Mud Boots, which is, funny story, two different realities, two different lives we lead. Maine, outside of Bar Harbor, we have mud boots, and it's a totally country way of life. And here in Sarasota, it's high heels. So dancing and dinners and two different realities, and it's awesome. So I believe that when my heart opened, in walked Jeff. I also believe deeply in my heart that Dave put the two of us there that night alone so that we would find each other.
Hmm.
And, Jeff said the F word first. He'd been divorced for 12 years. And he often said, I dated, had all these relationships, and they weren't the right ones. And he goes, I was just waiting for you. And we joke that what would have happened if we would have met 20 years before? And it's like, it wouldn't be the same. I wouldn't be as mature as I am, and you wouldn't be the woman you are without Dave. So I truly believe that once your heart opens and you're smiling, and a smile begets a smile, in walks love again, totally unannounced, totally unexpected.
Wow, it's so beautiful. I get goosebumps just hearing, the story and just seeing how much joy you have. It's radiating through the screen here. So it's so great to see that. Now, not only are you an author, but you're also a health coach,
Yes.
and you help people transform their health. So tell us a little bit more about that, and what the process would look like if somebody were to get in touch with you.
Yes. So I am a functional medicine health coach because of an email that you sent back August 26, 2019. And I was about to just stop my career and join the September course. But I was cautioned to settle down a little bit, wait. And then I became a part of Malik's class in 2019. So this incredible tribe of like-minded coaches, accountability coaches, and we coached and were coached the entire year of the program. And that was truly life-changing. And I did it to learn more about food as nutrition. That's what I thought was going to be my learning path. And then it became a wellness coach and said, you know what? I can really help and coach other widows and widows to become healthy again through the 7 steps to healing. And so the business came about. I branded Marie Scott Wellness all across social media. My website is Marie Scott Wellness. They can book a call with me, one-on-one coaching, and just have some inspiration and hope that, I can help other widows and widowers embrace life again and help them shine a light in a very dark place. This is not something that you would wish on your worst enemy. It's not. It's a horrible process to go through. Not just the first of everything, but the last. And when you do, and you find new purpose, you come out of it. And I never dreamed I'd be an author, let alone 5 books, or hold a widow's retreat at the end of March in beautiful Siesta Key, which is a magical white crystal beach. And I can't wait to get the word out. And you can reach me on social media, Marie Scott Wellness, all over.
I love that. And it gives you a new sense of purpose.
Yes.
It gives you the ability to be, empathetic to the challenges that people are facing, but then be living proof that you can love again, that you can smile again, you can laugh again, that you can, put yourself first. Finally, perhaps for some people, yes. They've never had the opportunity to put themselves first, so they never know what opportunities lay ahead when they do that. What are some of your favorite transformations that have taken place?
Well, first, my health transformation, just this shell of a person I became. The biggest health transformation is learning about food and the power of food, and then transforming my life by becoming a health coach and finding new purpose. So really 2 big ones, right? Health transformation, which allowed the life transformation to happen. And it's been an incredible journey and a great process, out of the depths of pain and sorrow that, could rise above that and write this book that's helping others, and also be part of another best-selling book, Wellness Wisdom. So that's the biggest part. And then finding functional medicine for me has been life-changing. And I will tell you that if I didn't find functional medicine, I'd be depressed. I'd be on antidepressants. I was pre-diabetic. I'd probably be a raging alcoholic, because first thing you turn to is substance abuse to fill the void. So I owe my life to functional medicine, and I'll never go back to allopathic. And I'll never forget the last time I did see my regular doctor, sat there and looked over her bifocals at 2 things: blood pressure, cholesterol, blood pressure, cholesterol. So, and every time I visited, I went away with 2 prescriptions. So that was life-changing for me to find functional medicine and to find the Living Proof Institute, and to find Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. So lots of big changes.
Yeah. And with the book, I follow you on social media, of course, and you're doing all these book signings and you're
Yeah.
getting a lot of media attention.
Yes.
What's some of the feedback that you're getting from people that you're encountering?
Incredible feedback. So one of my neighbors came we did a book signing last night in our community center, the amenity center here in Sarasota. And this one of my neighbors has 3 widowed siblings. So she bought 4 books, one for each of them she told me the story of each of them, and then one for herself. So today she dropped off a beautiful basket, a Christmas basket. And she said, I have to tell you, I started reading your book. I read the jacket and I read the front, the endorsements, and the foreword, which was written by you, Sachin. And she said in the first chapter, she goes, and I said, I have to put this down because this is the kind of book that you're going to sit down and you want to read the whole thing in one sitting. And, from having that closet closed to this book for so long, nobody read it. My one friend, Linda, read it from front to back in the early days, but to come through this process and write a book that people are saying, this is really good. This is really good stuff, whether you're grieving or not. The 7 steps to healing makes sense for anybody, going through a loss, whether it's a divorce or, if you're not feeling healthy. The 7 steps make all the sense in the world. And it's not rocket science, it's common sense. But until I became a health coach, I couldn't articulate these 7 steps. And, things like meditation and improved sleep, all the things I learned in my health journey.
Well, why don't we go through the 7 steps, if you don't mind, real quick? We can touch on them, and then let's give people the ability to get access to the book and learn more about your services.
So guess what the first step is?
Oh my God. I'm going to say sleep.
Food,
of course.
Food is medicine. And there's just so many things so much knowledge that I can impart that I've learned, like how to look at a label and how to shop and what to keep in your pantry and how to cook simple, fast meals. So that's the first step. And the second one is to improve sleep, because if you're not sleeping well, the energy is not going to be there. So you really have to concentrate on how are you going to sleep well. And for me, you can see your breath in my bedroom. It's that cold. And if we forget to turn on the thermostat, we can tell, the Aura Ring is an amazing tool. You can tell that you didn't get a good night's sleep. So in electronics, turning off all the blue lights and wearing blue blocker glasses, there's a ton of tips to help people get a better night's sleep. And as a widow, one of the first things that suffers is your sleep. After 30 years sleeping with Dave, and he's not there yet, he's not there anymore. That missing presence, you sleep like heck. It's not, you don't sleep well at all. So sleep is very, very important to overcoming grief. And then the next step, of course, is joyful movement. And I try to move 5 minutes every hour, and I get little reminders, and it doesn't have to be complicated, and you don't have to go to the gym. Although as an older woman, I do like to go to the gym and lift weights. I think you should lift heavy things to keep your strength, your toned, and also keep your balance, because I don't ever want to suffer a fall again and tear my other rotator cuff. Right. So there's many, many ways to move. And then the next step is meditation. And meditation to me has been a non-negotiable part of my morning routine. And even if it's 10 minutes in the morning, I'll just lie there or sit. And I tend to do it a couple times a day. Or if I'm in lots of traffic and the road rage is starting to, because traffic here is crazy this time of year. And, just breathing exercises and deep breathing and just calming right down. And then increasing laughter is key. I've got a lot of tips on how you can get laughter back in your life. And develop healthy relationships is the second most important thing to do. Unsubscribe to negative friends and family. And everybody knows they have those family members that you want to unsubscribe from. And then finally, find new purpose. Find new purpose is so important, whether it's something you used to do before you were widowed, or like painting or hobbies, or in my case, writing. And finding new purpose is the final key in starting to embrace life again.
All right. I knew food was the first one. I don't know why I said sleep, but certainly food is medicine. I was listening to a podcast yesterday with Dr. Rangan and Mark Hyman.
Yes.
And just when you think you've heard it all, right, he just dropped some amazing nuggets of knowledge about, the food system,
Yes.
how it's all set up. I mean, it's quite tragic, what happens with our food supply and how it's so adulterated and what these food manufacturers get away with and how food is designed to be so addictive and the most unhealthiest things can create challenges for us. And of course, when you talk about sleep, one thing that many of us probably take for granted if we are in a relationship is that person's laying there next to us. We go to bed with them and then we wake up and they're right there. But this thought that you're going to wake up one day and they may not be there, that can be very, very challenging to overcome. So you did mention keeping the room cold at night, which a lot of people don't like to do. Like they crank the heat up and keep their body nice and hot. But I love that you're keeping the room nice and cold because studies have shown, and your ring will show you as well, that the colder the room, the deeper you will actually sleep. Have you ever looked into a chili pad or anything like that to keep your bed cool?
I have. I haven't actually purchased one because, we live in two places, so I'd have to have two of everything. But I've looked into that. But my sleep has been amazing. I'm averaging like 2.5 hours REM and 2 hours deep, or vice versa. So my sleep has been awesome, just really, really good. So right now, I did look at the chili pad. I think a couple of years ago when Ben mentioned it. I love listening to his podcast too. But I should look into that again.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list. So if you get one before me, let me know. And if I get one before you, I'll let you know. Deepa, who's my wife, she loves it warm. And just the idea of having a cold bed at night freaks her out. So I'm going to have to get a unit just for my side and keep things nice and cool.
Yeah.
You talked about movement, joyful movement, especially, and going to the gym. What are some other examples of joyful movement besides exercise, perhaps?
Yeah, the best is dancing. By far, the best is dancing. And I remember when I started, I was alone in the old house in outside of South Carolina. I remember I just put the music on and start dancing around the house all by myself, and it was so therapeutic, and that made me smile. So dancing for sure. I love to do yoga, and part of the retreat at the end of March will be we'll do a morning sunrise walk, see the sunrise, watch the sunset at night from the rooftop, and do beach towel yoga, and then meditate. So I don't know if I should meditate first and then do beach towel yoga, but that's going to be part of the retreat agenda.
I love it. I'm visualizing, just obviously I won't be there, but I'm just visualizing how beautiful that scenery is. And this idea of watching a nice sunset over the water and watching it rise, it sounds quite amazing.
Yes. And hopefully, after the 5 days, the women, I'm assuming it's going to be mostly women who join us, will leave with a smile on their heart. Just being around us is contagious. We both laugh all the time. And the first night I envisioned Jeff and I cooking a beautiful welcome dinner from recipes from the cookbook, and watching the sunset from the rooftop, and everybody telling their story. Because telling your story is very therapeutic as well. Saying their name and, honoring that person who's no longer with you.
Well, speaking of honoring, you've done a fantastic job, honoring your body, honoring your soul, your spirit, honoring Dave. I mean, it's beautiful to watch. And I'm so grateful to play even a small role in the journey that you've gone through. And it's very inspiring. And I'm looking forward to your continued growth. You've come so far, and we were saying before the recording started that you're just getting started. The impact that you're going to have in the world is huge. And I'm so thrilled for all the opportunities that are coming your way to serve people who are in a difficult situation and help them love again, laugh again, and really find that sense of purpose as you described. How can people get a hold of you? How can they get the book? Where's the best place for them to get the book? And where's the best place for them to learn more about your services and what you have to offer?
Yes. So you can, if you're in Sarasota, you can stop by my house, knock on the door. I've got a stock of books here. And you can find the book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and doing a book signing there next month, which would be pretty exciting.
Wow.
And Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and even Target is carrying the book. And the book is called How I Found Meaning and Humor in Widowhood, Firehouses, and Organic Vegetables. And it's the 7 steps to healing after loss. So really proud of this. I love the cover. We had a cover contest, and you can reach me at Marie Scott Wellness. You can send me an email, or you can click a link on my website to reach out to me. And if you're a widow or widower, join my private Facebook group, Widowhood to Wellness. And that probably is going to be the best community for like-minded widows and widowers to connect, collaborate, and help each other feel better and start to embrace life again. So Widowhood to Wellness.
I love that. We'll be sure to share those links in the notes so you can easily click on them. Marie, thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for the goosebumps. Thank you for your continued vision and mission to serve the world and make it a healthier, happier place. It's inspiring to watch, and I'm so grateful that our paths crossed, and
Yes.
grateful to see the amazing growth that you've encountered and will continue to encounter. And hopefully one day here pretty soon, we'll get to see each other in person again.
I know.
Give you a big hug. It was so great. I still remember the day you came to our house.
Yeah.
And, it's etched in my memory. So I'm looking forward to seeing you again in person. But until then, lots of love, lots of gratitude, big hug. And here's to your continued success.
Thank you, Sachin.
My pleasure. Thank you.